Naked Nation, what is going on? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. We are going to be going over the Ichimoku Clouds, also known as the Ichimoku Cloud. And without further ado, let's get into it. How do you find the indicator? Very simple. You go to Trading View, you type in Ichimoku, you add it onto your chart, and then you're going to end up with something like this. Obviously, mine looks a little bit different, and I have a few other indicators here that I'm going to hide for now. But, where's my Ichimoku Cloud? There it goes. The Ichimoku Cloud comes with a few settings, which I personally remove. I only keep the baseline and the leading span, which is honestly your support and resistance. We'll talk about that later. I change up the colors. My settings, honestly, I don't think are any different than the stock settings on here. And we'll take it from there. So, Ichi Clouds. Honestly, very simple indicator, not a very hard one. We're going to use, I suppose, we'll use Bitcoin so we can have a little bit more data on it, since a lot of these other shitcoins may not have data on it. But long story short, and if you've watched our videos on stream, this is so hard. If you watched our videos on stream, you hear me talk about the Ichimoku Clouds. And Ichimoku Clouds, at its base case, are relatively simple. If you're above the Ichi Cloud, you are bullish, and being above is anywhere above that area over here. And if you're below the Ichi Clouds, which is this area right here, you are bearish. So above it, you are bullish. Above it, below it, you are bearish. In the middle of it, as I like to always say, is you are in the cloud, and you should see it as turbulence. You should expect volatility, and we're going to explain a little bit more about it right now, being inside the Ichimoku Cloud and what happens when you move through Ichi Clouds. But in general, when you're in the middle or within it, you're going to see volatility. So we're going to kind of take back and go back in time and kind of view what happened from the last bull market to the current bull market, where we stand today and what that could mean. And wouldn't I be streaming during a slight market pullback? Classic. So, when you're above the Ichi Clouds and you find resistance on the Ichi Clouds, right? When we broke above it way back in 2020, right? Here ensued crazy market. Then we retested the Ichi Cloud, stayed above the Ichi Cloud, retested it again, went above it, tested it, and then eventually went through, bounced around like a ping pong ball, and this is where I mentioned the volatility. And then when we cracked it, back into the bear zone we went, right? Relatively simple things. But that being said, how does it work? Why does it work? To be fair, I don't relatively understand the full fucking thresholds of everything. But in general, if you're above it, this little line here is going to count as resistance or support, whatever we want to call it. Technically, it's support. In my mind, I always see these lines as resistance, whether you're above it or below it. It's just a line of strength, regardless, right? So once you go into the Ichi Cloud, though, you got to view this as like a portal. Okay, the moment you go into the Ichi Cloud, and it's a little bit easier to see on daily candles, not necessarily weekly candles, but once you go in the Ichi Cloud, what was previously, we'll just keep calling it resistance, this becomes resistance, and this becomes support. So it's like you're almost trapped in a portal or a tunnel or a cave, right? Very simple enough, right? So once you enter the cave, exiting the cave or the portal is a little bit harder, right? And this is why you usually hear me talking on stream that we need candle confirmations to confirm it. And this is why on the weekly candles it can be a little bit wishy-washy, because, well, if you're, during this week you were above it, but you ended the week below it. So on the weekly, when you look at something like this, you'll be like, oh my god, we're breaking above the Ichis. But are you? Are you really? Something to think about. So on the weeklies, you do have to be careful about being above and being below the Ichi Cloud, because you can be below it for 6 out of the 7 days of the week, and then on the last day, the market makers pump it up or pump it down to being above or below the Ichi Cloud. So once you enter the Ichi Cloud, just like happened here, this becomes resistance, or this becomes resistance, and you're kind of stuck in this area until you break either above it or below it, right? And, you know, for years we've been saying, you know, for above, you know, we break below the Ichi, if we break above the Ichi, we'll be bullish or bearish, right? So back then, you know, back in July 2021, right, we were still above the Ichi Cloud, and we remained above the Ichi Cloud, and we remained bullish. So a lot of people would have been like, oh my god, we're about to go bearish because of the price. Well, not really, because fuck the price, the Ichi Cloud's goated. And if you go back, you can do this on your own. Look at the Ichi Cloud on the weekly biddy here, and you'll be able to see, like, wow, this is actually relatively fucking accurate, right? So looking at these clouds can give you that advantage, and that's the same thing that happened here, right? The moment we entered the Ichi Cloud, we got the volatility, we had this acting as resistance, right? Then we had this acting as support, and the moment we broke above the Ichi Cloud, way back, you know, everybody's saying bull market, you know, and this is why I was very specific to say, are we bull market or bear market, right? Because if you're above the Ichi Cloud, then you're truly bullish, and you can be more bullish, right? People who are saying, oh, we're bullish here, they're just gambling and hoping to be bullish, right? When did we turn bullish? If you go look at our videos, it was around mid-October, because, you know, I waited for the first candle, because I always say, you know, once you break above it, it doesn't matter what indicator or whatever it may be, once you break above it, you know, there could always be, the next week could be the candle that takes it below it, right? Anytime there's an important trend break, an important indicator break, you know, whatever it may be, on whatever time frame you're looking at, it could be the 5-minute, 10-minute, you know, 100-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 day. Though usually on the lower time frames is not as important because it's so volatile on low time frames. But on these higher time frames like the weekly, well, yeah, it's going to be bullish because, you know, you can be more certain it's about to get fucking crazy bullish because of breaking, you know, such a strong indicator, right? So everybody that was like, oh, you're not bullish enough, right? Look, I'm a simple man. You're above the Ichi Cloud, I'm bullish. Whether, you know, the SEC is suing Binance and this, that, or whatever, you know, I'm fundamentally bearish. But on the charts, you know, I can't deny where we at because, you know, that's where we at. You know, we're above the Ichi, we did that and whatever, right? So that's the general basis, the Ichi Cloud, and that's the same thing, you know? We could retrace right now to 27K, and people will be bearish as fuck at 27K. Believe it. But not me. Do you know why not me? Well, obviously I'll be rooting for the Bears. Yeah, go Bears. But, you know, we could pull back all the way to 27K right now on the weekly, and that, you know, that's what could constitute a sick bear trap, because everybody would be like, oh, it's fucking over. But is it? Just like in July 2021. If you don't go below the Ichi Cloud, well, you're not really that bearish. And it's very important to be able to distinguish what is true bearish and what is true bullish. And I always feel, no matter what, you want that indicator, it is the fucking Ichi Cloud, right? And if we really want to go bearish, then go below 23.6K here. And we're about, you know, go below that, and it's probably a total fucking shit show for crypto, to be fair. But, you know, that's what we're looking at here. The second thing about the Ichi Cloud that I'm going to talk about in this part of the video is very simple, is this called the baseline, right? I don't use the conversion line, I use the baseline. And the baseline, if you look at the math, is 26. Was this 26? It technically means it's the 26 moving average. But unironically, this 26 moving average also is a very good indicator, and sometimes a pre-indicator to something being bullish or bearish. If you look at this purple line, and we let's take away the Ichi Clouds, fuck the Ichi Clouds for a second, you know, that, right? Let's just look at the conversion line, okay? Conversion line of the Ichi Cloud. If you really just kind of zoom out here, let me just fix this. If you just kind of really zoom out here, you can kind of tell a story. The story is very simple. If you're above the purple line, you're bullish. If you fall below the purple line, you're bearish, right? And what I was saying earlier, like, we wouldn't be true bearish till we went below the Ichi Cloud. True, like, real, like, fucked up bearish to a point of no return. But this conversion line can give you a little bit of, like I said, early indicator that something's not right. Back when we fell below it, back in January 2022, when everyone's saying, oh, bro, we're just going to go back to the fucking moon, 70K, all around the corner. Well, actually, you got to be above the conversion line. I don't give a fuck. Back test my idea. Go back and you can go back all the fuck you want to on here. Same thing happened in 2017. We can take a quick little zoom scroll in here. Oh, what happened? Well, we pumped super fucking hard. Then we fell below it. Even though we weren't below the Ichi Cloud at that point, and we'll add that back in just a second. So now that we've kind of discussed the conversion line, right? Now that we've discussed it, you know, if you were waiting for the signal to be like super bearish, well, you would have missed out on all this action. You would have missed out on all this action, right? To be fair, there was Corona drop here, which is a little bit of a wishy-washy situation. But even then, when everybody was bearish in 2018, or people were saying, oh, this is the bottom, we're about to go up, I'll believe you if you go above the conversion line, which we did many months after. Look how it just grazed it, and the moment it went above the conversion line, which was before going into the Ichi Cloud and above the Ichi Cloud, okay, then we went into this situation. Same situation here. The thing was, when did it get truly more bullish? Yes, you could have said it was pre-bullish at 21K, but from 21K all the way to October, look how many months. This was 8 months of being, everybody was permabull, it's going to go up, and maybe you're right, and maybe, if the right situation would have went for the market makers, blah, 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 we would have gone down below it, right? So the conversion line is more important than you think. So if we start approaching 36K now, 37, then you can be like, you know what? Maybe we are going to go bearish a little bit more. You still have that Ichi Cloud as your support zone here or wherever it may be, that when we hit it there, because, maybe it goes like this and whatever, right? Lots of time, lots of possibilities and combinations, right? But it still stands that every time you start going below the conversion line, it gets a little spicy, right? And here was probably the most interesting part, because we fell below the conversion line for a little bit, but when we broke above the Ichi and we broke above the conversion line, look what happened. Very simple, isn't it? It's simple if you believe in it, and that's what really the Ichi Cloud is about. And you can add other indicators on top of it. You can see maybe how does it work with stochastic RSI? How does it work with RSI? In my opinion, if you take the VWAP, which I don't very much discuss, but you can go look into the VWAP, and you also add in the point of controls, it's not a bad indicator to kind of look at. And now if we kind of scroll into the daily here, well, look at that. Ideally what you really want to see to be like more bullish, you don't want to see it just grinding on the conversion line. The more it grinds on the conversion line, the higher chance it has to fall. So try mixing it with other indicators. I think with EMAs is pretty good. I don't think it's a bad combination either. But see what you can cook up. What I have set up here is not just what you should be using, obviously. Try out something, try out an indicator. Maybe it works better with the MACD, and I don't know it does. Right? There's so many combinations you can do out there. But just alone, the Ichi Cloud, quite powerful. Especially, I would say, more on a long-term view. Can you use it on the 27-minute? You see me using it all the time, right? Like, on stream. I honestly think you could use it on any time frame. The higher the time frame, the more importance it has, but it's still, you shouldn't disrespect the fact that, like, when you start going below the Ichi Cloud, it gets bearish, and when you're below the Ichi Cloud and the conversion line, which is this purple line, use that to your advantage. Anyways, Naked Nation, I hope you enjoyed my perspective on the Ichi Cloud and how I use the Ichi Cloud. Feel free to leave comments down below, and remember, guys, join our Discord. It's free if you're just watching the first time. Join our live streams every day, Sunday to Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, usual start time. Sometimes earlier, sometimes later. And if I'm not going to be on stream, I'll always let you guys know on Discord or on Twitter. So make sure to follow down below. Till then, Naked Nation, take care, brush your hair, scrub your scalp. I'm out.